Today we're breaking down Buddha's Brain by Rick Hanson. Have you ever noticed how one bad moment ruins your entire day while 10 good moments barely register? Like your brain is literally wired to focus on problems, threats, and what's wrong? And no matter how much good happens in your life, you're still anxious, stressed, or unsatisfied. Rick Hanson discovered after decades of studying neuroscience and Buddhist psychology that your brain has a built-in negativity bias that's sabotaging your happiness. But you can hack it using specific mental exercises that physically change your neural structure. In this video, you will learn 6 scientifically proven techniques to rewire your brain for resilience, including the 20-second practice that turns fleeting positive moments into lasting neural traits. Watch till the end to discover how to override 200,000 years of survival programming and build an unshakable inner peace, not through toxic positivity, but through practical neuroscience that literally grows the happiness centers in your brain. Lesson number 1, your brain's negativity bias. This first concept explains why you can't just think positive your way to happiness, and it starts with understanding how evolution screwed you over. Your ancestors who worried about every rustle in the bushes survived. The ones who were chill and optimistic, they got eaten. So now you've inherited a brain that's like Velcro for negative experiences and Teflon for positive ones. Hanson found that your brain reacts more strongly to negative stimuli, remembers it better, and makes decisions based on avoiding pain rather than pursuing pleasure. 1 criticism sticks for weeks. 10 compliments? Forgotten by lunch. This isn't a character flaw. It's neurological. The amygdala, your brain's alarm system, uses about 2/3 of its neurons to detect negative experiences. Then it stores them immediately into memory. Positive experiences? They need to be held in consciousness for 12 to 20 seconds just to transfer to long-term memory. Think about your day yesterday. What do you remember more clearly? The thing that annoyed you? Or the 5 things that went well? That's your negativity bias at work. Your brain literally has different systems for processing negative and positive experiences. Negative experiences get the fast track, straight to storage, high priority, instant access. Positive experiences take the scenic route and often get lost along the way. But here's what changes everything. Your brain is plastic, not fixed. Every thought, every focus of attention, every moment of awareness is sculpting your neural structure. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Which means you can deliberately build new neural pathways that favor happiness, calm, and resilience. The problem is most people are accidentally strengthening their negativity bias every day. They marinate in worry, replay arguments, anticipate problems. Every time you do this, you're literally building a brain that's better at suffering. But what if you could reverse this? What if you could make your brain Velcro for the positive and Teflon for the negative? That's exactly what the next lesson shows you how to do. Lesson number 2, the 20-second rewire. This technique is the antidote to your negativity bias, and it's so simple that most people dismiss it, which is exactly why they stay stuck. Hanson calls it taking in the good, and it has 3 steps that literally change your brain structure when practiced consistently. Step 1. Look for good facts. They're already there. That coffee that tastes perfect, the text from a friend, the fact that you're breathing without effort. Small positive moments happen dozens of times daily. You just don't notice because your brain doesn't flag them as important. Step 2. Savor the experience for 20 seconds, not 2 seconds. 20. Let it fill your awareness. Feel it in your body. The longer you hold it, the more neurons fire together, the stronger the neural trace. Step 3. Sense it sinking in. Imagine the experience becoming part of you. like water absorbing into a sponge. This isn't woo-woo. You're consciously directing your attention in a way that enhances encoding into neural structure. Most positive experiences wash through your brain without leaving a trace. You got the promotion? Felt good for an hour? Your kid hugged you? Nice moment, forgotten. These experiences happened, but didn't become part of you. Taking in the good changes that. You're not creating fake positive experiences. You're taking real ones that your brain would normally waste and installing them into your neural hardware. But here's what nobody understands. This isn't about positive thinking or gratitude journals. It's about the duration and intensity of attention. Your brain needs time to move experiences from short-term buffers to long-term storage. Under 10 seconds? Probably won't stick. Over 20 seconds? You're building new synaptic connections. Hanson's research shows that people who practice this for just a few weeks show measurable changes in brain structure. The left prefrontal cortex, associated with happiness and resilience, literally gets thicker. The amygdala, your fear center, becomes less reactive. You're not fighting your negativity bias. You're building a competing system. Every time you take in the good for 20 seconds, you're laying another brick in your happiness foundation. Do it 5 to 10 times a day, and within a month, your brain defaults start shifting. The key is making it a habit. Set phone reminders. Do it every time you have coffee. Before you check your phone in the morning, take in the good of simply being alive and comfortable in your bed. Small moments, consistently installed, compound into a different brain. Which brings us to understanding your brain's 3 core operating systems. Lesson number 3, the 3 brain systems. Your brain runs 3 operating systems simultaneously, and understanding them changes everything about how you manage your mental state. The avoiding system scans for threats, creates anxiety, releases stress hormones. It's powered by your brainstem and amygdala, your reptile brain. When activated, you feel anxious, angry, or fearful. The approaching system seeks rewards, creates drive, releases dopamine. It's centered in your reward circuits. When activated, you feel motivated, excited, or frustrated if blocked. The attaching system connects with others, creates bonding, releases oxytocin. It's based in your mammalian brain. When activated, you feel loved, loving, or lonely if disconnected. Here's the crucial insight. These systems are always running, but usually one dominates. And when the avoiding system takes over, which it does by default thanks to your negativity bias, the other 2 go offline. When you're stressed about a deadline, avoiding, you can't fully enjoy your lunch, approaching, or connect with your partner, attaching. Your brain doesn't multitask these states, it switches between them. Most people spend 70% of their time in the avoiding system. Worried about money, health, what others think, what might go wrong. This chronic activation literally shrinks your hippocampus, memory, reduces prefrontal cortex activity, decision-making, and keeps you in survival mode. But here's what Hanson discovered. You can consciously shift between systems. Feeling anxious? That's avoiding running. Deliberately activate approaching by focusing on something you're grateful for. Feeling disconnected? Activate attaching by thinking of someone you love or practicing self-compassion. This isn't suppressing negative emotions. It's recognizing which system is driving and consciously bringing others online. You're not denying the threat. You're adding resources to deal with it. The most powerful state? When all 3 systems are balanced. You're alert, but not anxious. Avoiding is calm. Engaged, but not grasping. Approaching is satisfied. Connected, but not needy. Attaching is secure. Ancient contemplatives called this equanimity. Neuroscience calls it integrated brain function. Either way, It's achievable through practice. Every meditation, every moment of mindfulness, every conscious breath is training your brain to balance these systems. You're teaching your neural networks that it's safe to stand down from red alert, okay to enjoy the present, possible to connect without clinging. Which leads us to the practice that changes your brain faster than any other. Lesson number 4. Mindfulness changes brain structure. Forget what you think you know about meditation. This is about measurable physical changes in your brain that happen faster than scientists thought possible. Sarah Lazar at Harvard scanned the brains of meditators versus non-meditators. The results were shocking. Meditators had thicker prefrontal cortexes, executive function, bigger hippocampi, learning and memory, and smaller amygdalae, fear center. But that could just mean calm people meditate, right? So they took stressed out people who'd never meditated and put them through an 8-week mindfulness program. The brain changes were visible on scans in just 8 weeks. The prefrontal cortex, your brain's CEO, literally grows thicker with meditation. This is the part that makes decisions, regulates emotions, and overrides impulses. It's like upgrading your brain's operating system. The hippocampus grows too. This is huge because chronic stress shrinks the hippocampus, which is why anxious people have memory problems. Meditation reverses this. You're not just feeling better, you're growing new neurons. Meanwhile, the amygdala shrinks. Less gray matter in your fear center means less reactivity to stressors. Things that used to trigger you just don't. Not because you're suppressing reactions, but because your brain literally responds differently. But here's the part that blows my mind. The default mode network, the brain's wandering system that creates anxiety and rumination, becomes less active. This is the network that's overactive in depression and anxiety. Meditation literally turns down its volume. You don't need to meditate for hours. Hanson's research shows that 12 minutes a day creates measurable changes. That's less time than most people spend scrolling Instagram. The type of meditation matters less than consistency. Breathing meditation, body scan, loving kindness, they all work. What matters is repeatedly bringing your attention back when it wanders. That action, returning attention, is like a bicep curl for your prefrontal cortex. Every time your mind wanders and you bring it back, you're strengthening neural pathways for focus and awareness. You're teaching your brain that you're in charge, not your thoughts. This is literally rewiring happening in real time, which brings us to a practice most people resist but desperately need. Lesson number 5, your brain on kindness. This will sound soft, but the neuroscience is harder than titanium. Self-compassion literally changes your brain chemistry and structure more powerfully than self-criticism ever could. When you criticize yourself, your brain responds as if you're being attacked by someone else. Cortisol floods your system. Your amygdala fires up. Your prefrontal cortex goes offline. You're literally triggering your own threat system. But when you practice self-compassion, talking to yourself like you would a good friend, your brain releases oxytocin and opiates, same chemicals as when someone else comforts you. Your parasympathetic nervous system activates. You move from fight or flight to tend and befriend. Kristen Neff's research shows that self-compassionate people have less anxiety and depression, more motivation, and better relationships. Not because they're letting themselves off the hook, but because they're creating optimal brain states for growth. Think about how you motivate yourself. Probably with criticism, pressure, threats. You're so lazy. You'll never succeed. What's wrong with you? You wouldn't talk to a friend that way, but you do it to yourself daily. Your brain can't tell the difference between criticism from others and self-criticism. Both activate threat systems. Both impair performance. Both create the exact opposite state you need for learning and growth. But here's what's fascinating. Self-compassion activates the caregiving system in your brain. the same circuits that activate when you comfort a child. You're literally parenting yourself at a neural level. This creates safety, which allows your brain to learn, adapt, and take risks. The practice is simple, but not easy. When you mess up, instead of, "I'm such an idiot," try, "This is a moment of struggle." Struggle is part of being human. May I be kind to myself in this moment? It feels weird at first because you're fighting decades of conditioning. Your inner critic will say you're being weak, letting yourself off easy. That's your threat system trying to maintain control. But self-compassion isn't about lowering standards. It's about creating the neural conditions for meeting them. You perform better from a state of supported challenge than threatened fear. Every time you practice self-compassion, you're building neural pathways for resilience. You're teaching your brain that you're safe even when you fail. This, paradoxically, makes you more likely to succeed because you're not wasting energy on internal warfare. Which brings us to the final lesson about lasting change. Lesson number 6. Building new neural pathways. Everything we've covered means nothing. If you don't understand this, your brain changes through repetition, not intensity. Small, consistent practices literally rebuild your neural architecture. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Every time you repeat a thought, feeling, or behavior, you strengthen those neural connections. Do it enough, and temporary states become permanent traits. Hanson calls this positive neuroplasticity. You're not fighting your old brain. You're building a new one alongside it. Every practice is laying new neural highways that eventually become the path of least resistance. Think of your brain like a hillside where water flows. Your negative patterns are deep gullies carved by years of repetition. You can't fill them in, but you can dig new channels. With enough repetition, the water starts flowing the new way. This is why one meditation retreat or self-help book doesn't change your life. Your brain needs thousands of repetitions to build robust new pathways. But, and this is crucial, those repetitions can be tiny. 5 seconds of self-compassion repeated 20 times a day is more powerful than an hour of meditation once a week. Your brain responds to frequency more than duration. The research is clear. It takes about 8 weeks of daily practice to see structural brain changes on scans. But people report feeling different within 2 to 3 weeks. That's your new neural pathways starting to compete with the old ones. Here's what most people don't realize. Your brain is changing right now. Every thought you think is strengthening certain neural pathways. The question isn't whether your brain will change. It's whether you're directing that change or letting it happen randomly. Most people are accidentally reinforcing their suffering. They worry, building worry circuits. They self-criticize, building criticism circuits. They rush, building stress circuits. Every day they're becoming more of what they practice. But when you consciously practice taking in the good, mindfulness, self-compassion, you're building competing circuits. At first, the old highways are still dominant, but keep laying those new paths and eventually, your brain defaults shift. The compound effect is real. Each positive practice might seem insignificant, but repeated thousands of times, they literally rebuild your brain. You're not changing your thoughts. You're changing the organ that creates them. Let me simplify this into something you can use immediately. Your brain evolved with a negativity bias that made sense 200,000 years ago, but is destroying your happiness today. The good news? You can rewire it using simple practices that take seconds, but compound into permanent change. Start with one practice, taking in the good. 5 times today when something positive happens, however small, stop and savor it for 20 seconds. Feel it. Let it sink in. You're literally building new neural pathways with each repetition. Add 1 minute of breathing meditation. Just 1 minute. But do it every single day, You're strengthening your prefrontal cortex with every breath you return your attention to. When you catch yourself in self-criticism, pause. Talk to yourself like you would a good friend. You're rewiring your brain's response to failure from threat to growth. Because here's what Hanson taught me that changed everything. Your brain takes its shape from what you rest your mind on. Rest it on worry, and you build a worried brain. Rest it on gratitude, and you build a grateful brain. Remember, neurons that fire together, wire together. The question is, what are you wiring today for more book summaries that give you actionable takeaways without the fluff? Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.